Metavesco trades on OTC. Because we are a publicly traded company, you should know that there are risks, and those risks are discussed in our filings on otcmarkets.com. Anyone considering owning or buying or trading that stock should go review those disclosures to understand risk that you may be exposed to. And obviously, I have no control over the price of the stock. It goes up, it goes down. I cheer when it goes up. I get upset when it goes down. Okay. I personally own shares, common shares, and I paid for those common shares. They weren't given to me. And when they go down, it doesn't feel good. My entire family practically owns some amount of shares. I don't know what they own, but, pretty much anybody, you know, cousins and all that, all right, like all of them. And I appreciate their support, but that also, does create a tad bit of pressure to perform. They also understand my time horizon may not necessarily match theirs, and it may not match yours. So you should keep that in mind. So last week, Metavesco launched OTCfi. So let me check with Ray on this before I continue. Let me just make sure he's got me. Man, he's the man. Fuck yeah, Ray Stress. Write that down. All right. In all seriousness, Metavesco launched OTCfi about a week ago. If you've been following along with Metavesco, you know that I've been a proponent of tokenizing OTC securities for a long time. I've gotten extremely vocal about it recently when we started seeing Tom Lee talk about Ethereum becoming the backbone of Wall Street. I've been calling for that for 3 years. And to be fair, I thought that we were going to have that moment 3 years ago in 2022. So when I started, so Metavesco was a holding company. It was Waterside Capital. It was a NASDAQ company. It got delisted. I bought a control block and took control of the company. When I did, I changed the name to Metavesco. And I immediately, if you go back and look at the very first press release that I did under Metavesco, it was, we raised, I think, a little over $1 million, and we were going into Web3. We were trading crypto. We were doing liquidity pools on Uniswap. We were buying some NFTs. We owned a ton of Bored Ape, Yuga related stuff. Some of that worked out okay, some of it not so much. And then, of course, middle 2022, the crypto market really took a dump. And to make matters worse, we were taking a little heat from the SEC. We had filed an S1, and they came back with like a crazy long list of comments. So usually when you file an S1 with the SEC, they'll give you a round of comments. You'll go a couple of times, answer the questions. They'll come back with some more. But in this particular case, it was like, I don't know, man. It's like 80 pages or something of comments. And they just didn't like any of the stuff we had on our books, the crypto, the Bitcoin, NFT, any of it. So we withdrew the S1 and said, okay, let's just let that sit for a little bit. And then, with Gary Gensler on the watch, we liquidated most of our crypto that wasn't Bitcoin. So we kept Bitcoin because he was very clear that it was not a security. So we stayed there. And then we were kind of forced to diversify in some other stuff. I'll tell you, had we not had that moment with, the SEC just hating crypto, we probably would have just stayed the course there. We could have made a lot of money. We were buying stuff now that if we had held it now, we'd be sitting on such a pile of cash. I mean, I think we bought 1 million Doge at like 8 cents or something, 1 million. We had, this is going to break your heart. We had $100,000 of Solana at $14. $14. And we had to sell it because of the SEC. Yeah. $14. Pissed me off. All right. So you fast forward to where we are now. There was a time where the OTC, okay, so a lot of you guys are from the OTC. A lot of you are not. Some of you are crypto native. Some of you are not. And so it's interesting because I may have to explain things twice, one to one group, one to the other. And I'm excited about that because I think there's an opportunity to kind of, do some little cross-pollination. The OTC, there was a time, if you don't know, there was a time where there was tons of liquidity. There were tons of runners. We would get 1,000% runners. I actually got my start in trading and investing in the OTC. Like that wasn't my first trade, but it was like my fourth trade probably was an OTC stock. My very first one was like I paid $1 a share for some insurance company, and 6 months later I sold it for $4. That was my very first trade. Literally the day I turned 18, I went down to the First Union there and opened up an account. I've always been fascinated by the financial markets. I would skip school and go hang out at the bank with this old lady named Mary Rose. She was the broker there. this is a tiny little town, so I can't imagine she had a lot of business, but I used to go hang out there, and I was just fascinated by it, and I just learned everything I could, while I learned more hanging out at the bank, skipping school than I did in high school, if I'm being honest. Um, and I learned how things really work. I mean, there are guidelines and there are rules, and then deals get made when people are able to build relationships, and you start learning these things just hanging around these experienced people. And I was very young and impressionable. But there was a time when the OTC was just an amazing place to be for creating wealth. You'd spend a lot of time doing due diligence. uh, there were discords with thousands of people in them back then. I mean, I don't know, there still may be some, but um, it was an insane environment to make money, and it felt a lot less like gambling than it does now. Uh, the way it is now feels kind of honestly a lot like meme coins. You buy a meme coin, you don't know if it's going to rug or if it's going to go to a billion. You really just don't know. I mean, some of the stupidest shit I've seen, just like fart coin. How the hell is fart coin $1 billion token or whatever it's at now? I get it. Hot air rises. I mean, it's clever. Bottom line is it's really community. If enough people get behind it, the idea is going to win. Okay. OTC used to be like that. You would have a community of traders that would go out, they would hunt. You'd have sleuths, they were looking for opportunities. And, they would put a due diligence thread up on Twitter or up on Investors Hub. Don't ever go there. It's completely toxic now. It was toxic then, if I'm being honest. Um, but it was fun, man, and people were making money. All you had to do was spend some time, do some research, and then put your money in. And it wasn't so much about one tick flips or just in and out. It was like you buy something today, and then 6 months later, you're up 1,000%. And maybe you took some profit along the way. It was just a great time to be a small investor, because you could get into things before big banks and institutions and big broker dealers could buy them because they're too small. And where else can you invest into an up and coming company that's got a $5 million market cap when institutions cannot buy, like they are not allowed to buy something that low because there's no liquidity, they can't get out. So literally, you're able to front run Wall Street. There's no other place on earth where you can do that. Not even in crypto. I mean, it's getting to that now because you got we're kind of front running ETH when Tommy started talking about. So I mean, yeah, I guess we're getting there now, but the OTC has offered a lot of opportunities. In the last few years, the liquidity has really dried up. It has gotten better since Donald Trump probably became president. I bet you could draw it on a calendar when the liquidity started coming back a little, but it's still nothing like it was. And they're very limited runners. They'll run for a few days and then they're dead. And it's just not a great place to be public. But where else can you go? Where else can you go? So, what about world liberty? Hey, I'm happy to take some questions, some flavor, but if I don't get through this, I will lose my train of thought and it'll just be a complete shit show. So I do want to get through this, but I'm happy to answer whatever questions on the fly. I don't do notes usually. I don't do scripts. Even when I do interviews, I don't do pre-answered questions and stuff like that. I'm very off the cuff. I just want to be genuine about what I am and what I say. Sometimes that rubs people the wrong way, but with me, you will get what you see, and that really is it. At the heart of everything I do, I want to make people money. I have a giant ego. I've got the biggest ego. I mean, my ego is probably bigger than Donald Trump's, and I know that's saying something, but it is that big. And what gets me off is making people freaking rich. I can't tell you what that feels like unless you've done it. I can't even explain it. And I've had a few times in my career, it usually comes wrong about it. It seems like about every 5 years it comes along. There have been times where I just made people so much money, and that to me feels good. I know what I came from, and it's nice to see people come up. Okay, I came from nothing. My wife and I got married. We lived in a 600 square foot trailer. I think we paid $240 a month lot rent for the thing. It was a tiny little thing. We raised 2 kids there, and I mean, it was rough coming up. Okay, but we fought and we built businesses. Not all of them were great. We've had a few that were, I don't want to call them failures. Some people might will call them failures, but we've had a few that were doozies, but we've had way more that have just done well. And I think the OTC is important because that's capital formation for small businesses. I mean, yeah, it's great if you can go to the NASDAQ, but by that point, if you're a retail investor, by the time it's NASDAQ, most of the wealth creation opportunity, like the easy money, has already been made. Once it's there, you're waiting on risk, basically. Okay. Not to say there's plenty of risk in the OTC because small companies die every day. But I want to lead into where we are now and how this comes into OTCfi. I for a long time now I felt like the OTC needed reform, and not the OTC markets, the company. I don't want to tell them how to run their business, but I am part of that ecosystem, and so is everyone who trades OTC stocks. And that's how I look at the OTC. I look at the OTC honestly. Crypto traders will understand this. Think of the OTC as pump.fun. You come on pump.fun, a token launches, maybe it runs, maybe it doesn't. But everyone, like most of the bigger traders that are catching these big runners on pump, they're on pump. They're not on pump and bonk and all these other different. Some of them are like if they're like Cupsy probably is, right? But most people they'll sit here and they'll camp out on one of these platforms that they like. To me, OTC Markets is a platform. OTC Markets is the pump.fun of Wall Street. Okay, and that's just the facts of it. Now, here's the thing: pump.fun, Elon, he's investing heavily in people that launch tokens, and he's invested heavily in his eco. I mean, look, we got a stream right now in a website that's not even like a year old. I mean, you can't do that on OTC Markets. They've got virtual investor conferences. You pay like $8,000 or some shit to go to, and you get no liquidity. It doesn't create any volume anyways. You get nothing out of it. Here we've got something that's very new, it's very different, and there's billions of dollars. I mean, he raised $1 billion with the pump coin launch. I mean, come on. It's clear this is where things are going. Now, whether OTC Markets Group gets on board with that or not, I don't know. I hope that they do. If they don't, someone else will. You've already seen that Galaxy Digital is now listing their tokens on Solana. Ondo's doing a bunch of onboarding. I actually have had some email conversations with Jim from Super States. Those are the guys that did the Galaxy deal, and he told me and I actually posted the response on X, and he responded to it. He told me that they had their eye on the OTC, so it is coming. OTC will eventually, all OTC stocks will eventually become just like every other stock on Wall Street will become tokenized. That's only a matter of time. So about 3 weeks ago, Hester Peirce, I thought her name was Pierce. I felt so bad when I called her that when I met her, but it's Hester Peirce. She's the commissioner of the SEC. About 3 weeks ago, maybe it was 4 weeks ago, I don't remember, but they were doing a crypto roundtable, and Metavesco got invited to go to the crypto roundtable. I can tell you, on one hand, probably how many sub penny stock CEOs that are in crypto have been able to sit down with anybody at the SEC, and they weren't in handcuffs. Okay. We got invited to go. I met her. And I'll tell you what, most regulators, my impression of them is probably not great. I think most of them are kind of clues to what's really going on. They got a rule book and they follow that, whatever. But no, this lady is brilliant. She's crazy intelligent, wicked smart. And I feel like she has a great understanding of the technology behind the blockchain. I mean, not just like, it's a token, but the blockchain technology itself, Hyperledger, she gets it. She understands it well, probably better than a lot of the people who were there talking to her, myself included. Very smart lady. And and she was clear to say that those are her views, not necessarily the SEC views. But I went there with the intent to advocate for the tokenization of the OTC stocks. We were there for a little over 2 hours, and I feel like I made my case for it. And I left there feeling like it's going to happen eventually. But I think that the big hangup for the SEC is how they have guardrails to keep like terrorists from laundering money on a tokenized stock. How do you keep Russia from buying the S&P 500 if it's tokenized and on chain? How do you gate that, right? And so I think that's the big thing they're struggling with. But going into that, we launched OTCfi. Okay, OTCfi is, and I want to be very, very, very clear about this. OTCfi is not a security. It doesn't represent anything other than the community here that we are building. It doesn't carry any value other than what somebody might be willing to pay for it. It's not backed by Metavesco stock. There's no guarantee that I will ever step in and hold the thing up if it drops. So keep all those things in mind. It's not a security. It's not represented any type of real world asset. It's not an RWA. It is a community token. It was designed that way. Now, all that said, I am committed to this project in the same way that I'm committed to any other project that Metavesco gets involved with. Epic Labor. We're scaling that business up. We're investing an awful lot of capital. But I will go support that. I will do sales calls. I will tweet about it. I will post about it on LinkedIn. Everywhere I go, I talk about Epic Labor. Yo, Kicko, is he in here? He said he was going to try to get on stream. Let me just see. I've never tried a. I've never tried to. No, he's not yet. I've never tried to share a stream, but he said he would try to get on. But apparently you can invite someone with your stream. Are you Kicko? 71 REAV. Oh shit. Well, that's just messed up. I can't hear you, bro.
What the hell?
Are my speakers off or something?
What the hell? Check your speakers. Yeah, anyone else? You guys can hear me.
Oh, you know what? This is stupid. Say something.
Hello.
There he goes. So I hooked up my Yeti mic, which I usually use for gaming because it's much better quality than my hot mic here. And when I did that, it put the Yeti mic in as my speaker. So
okay, so you can hear me now.
Oh, I hear you're great, man. Yeah, you're looking good.
Let's go. I am looking good. Thank you.
I didn't know that was you, man. You know, because it's got everybody by their wallet names or whatever. You know.
Yeah, I just logged in on this wallet here. I was like, okay, I'll just log in on this, and
yeah, it works great, man. I can hear you great too. It's good quality. I tell you what,
yeah,
man.
I've been listening in. I just had to pick up the little guy at the bus stop, but
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's looking good, and some of the questions you've got, I've been seeing, it's understandable.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about though, like the way the OTCs changed. It's unbelievable, man.
It really is, and not in a good way.
No. The strangest thing that I've experienced, like, is this squad of like angry people out there, and it's not just about you or LTNC. It's a whole culture now in the OTC of people who have been so frustrated for so long that when anyone's trying to do anything, they're ready to pop off about it. You know what I mean? Like, 5 minutes of downward movement, it's a scam. It's like they don't want to succeed. You know what I mean? It's funny how it is lately.
Yeah, it's pretty toxic. There are a handful of guys who've been around for a long time. I mean, you're one of them. And, I mean, I think a lot of people have kind of given up to a degree on even trying to make any money there. It's just not a great environment, at least not like it used to be. And maybe we're trying to compare it to a time that won't come back. I don't know. But my goal and the goal that we have with this token, with MVCO and OTCfi, I want to bring liquidity back to the OTC. Well, you might ask, what's that got to do with OTC? But how is that involved with that? If we can get OTC companies to put this on their balance sheet, that's going to drive value. If we can get every OTC trader involved with OTCfi, that's going to drive value. But it's not enough just to do that. We've got to have a working ecosystem, and I don't want us, just so I'm clear, I don't want us to divulge too much there. I know we've talked about a lot in the last couple of days. But there's a ton of stuff that can be done with inside OTCfi that strengthens the OTC community. And it is my opinion that the liquidity that gets created from OTCfi will find its way to the OTC. So, but it starts first with gathering the community and pursuing a common cause. And so that is kind of the premise with this token. And that's why the very first thing we did with it is let's airdrop it. We put it out on X. If you're an OTC OG, come claim your token. And we had 100. Well, there were a lot of claims, but a lot of bots. And there were a few double dippers that tried to claim it a few extra times. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, it's we're at 1.2 million right now. If you're not from crypto, you might look at that and say, wow, that's horrible. We were at 3.6. But if you're from crypto, you're like, wow, I can't believe we're more than 6,000. Because by this point, most of these tokens, that's where they're sitting at 6,000, 7,000.
Yeah.
They die fast.
And they launch 15,000.
Go do another one. Yeah.
Yeah. 15,000 a day. and 14,997
Yep.
of them are back at 6K. You know what I mean?
There's a guy, I was looking at his wallet today. He's traded 5,000 tokens today. I mean, how do you even do that, man? Of course, he's making like $8 million a day, so whatever.
Well,
But
you know, and
gotta
that
be the
might
money.
be some type of bot.
He's using a ton of bots. Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
you're
got like
fighting a lot of that.
80. Yeah, yeah, Cupsy.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, well, Cupsy's one of them. He's not the guy I'm talking about, but yeah, he's in that same gang. Yeah.
It's funny you mention it though, with regard to, you know, because I get that a lot too. What does this have to do with bringing the OTC back? Listen, a lot of people who we knew as peers in the
mhm.
OTC went this direction. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
and they got their start in the OTC and went this direction. And you know, I see it as such a huge opportunity to get some of those people to come back, bring the magic back,
Yeah.
maybe take another look at the OTC again in time. And most of all, and I think it's evidenced by the fact that you did that work with the supply control and are holding so much. You know, we want to see people in the OTC have another TSNP type run. We want it, you know what I mean? We want
Yeah.
that back.
Well,
And
and that's, yeah, to
yeah,
your point, crypto is global. This token is global. This
yeah.
token has traded more volume than, like, pick any stock in the OTC last week. This thing traded. Oh, we lost him. Kicko died. I accepted it. Yeah. Okay.
Accept me.
There you are. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had, dude. This platform is. I mean, it's not like as good as like Twitch or anything close to that, but it's impressive for what they've kind of thrown together. I mean, it
Well,
really
and
is.
you know, in time, as it gets better and better, you know, it pays better than Twitch.
Oh, they'll
It
figure it
pay
out. Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll figure it out, and you're gonna see a lot of big names here in
Oh yeah.
time,
Yeah. Bro,
you know?
my and I don't want to get too off topic, but my daughter is a certified personal trainer. I mean, she works her ass off. I think she deals like 22 clients per day. I mean, could you imagine being in a gym working out with 20? I mean, she got like 12 hours of straight just go. I mean, she is hardcore, man, and she's so committed to it. I tried to get her to go to college, and she said, "Dad, I want to go learn how to be a certified personal trainer." I said, "Fine, go do that, but do it." And man, she has. But she came to me the other day because she hears us talking about the token. Topher, Topher's like a crypto god. I don't know if y'all know this, but this kid was like, "Dad, you need to buy Bitcoin," when it was at like $100, and I laughed at him. He told me about
Uh,
Doge when it was less than a penny, and I laughed at him again. He told me about Pepe. I bought that one. I made like 30 grand on that one, but yeah, I mean, he's a whiz. Anyway, they're all talking about this token. So my daughter comes to me. She's like, "Dad, look, I got all this stuff going on, and I'm not getting the kind of traction. I'm trying to do an online like video, video training so I can do more people, than just 22 in a day." And she's like, "Maybe I should start like a fitness stream or something, because she's seeing all these people do these streams that I saw a girl last night just sitting there talking to the camera for like 4 hours. I don't even know what she was doing. So I think that you're going to see so many creators, and even people that aren't like natively creators. I think you're going to see them come over here, especially gamers.
Now let me ask you,
Okay.
is the room you're in made of gold?
No, it's wood, man.
Oh,
It's wood. God, I wish it was made of gold. Shit, I'd put it up
yeah.
there. No, it's wood, but this is like the gaming room. Okay, so like,
Yeah.
all right. So my family's like a huge game. Like we are all gamers. Like me, sons, daughters, all friends of the sons and the daughter. Like everyone. Okay, so we have a huge ass gaming room here. But the lights,
Yeah.
I don't know how to dim. There's a way to dim them, but I don't know how to do it. You got to have like an app or
Because
something.
it looks badass. Like, it
Does
looks
it?
like a
Oh, well,
badass
cool. Yeah.
room,
All
I
right.
gotta tell you.
Yeah, it's gold, bro. It's totally gold. Yeah. Damn, I like it. No, but it's so bright. I mean, you can see my head's like shining. Like it's so. I mean, it's actually a little hot in here too. Not lying. Anyways, you're talking about rug pulls. Uh,
There's a lot. And
there's
you know what happens
a lot.
to streamers is, like I understand the stress because, like, if you're a streamer and you launch and a bunch of people get a ton of supply and they dump it to zero and make you look like trash, it's very hard for you to work your way back up.
And that's what happened.
And and that's the thing about supply control that's so different on OTCfi. I mean, I've told the story. A lot of people don't even remember that I was the first guy in the OTC to
Yep.
launch
I
a pump
remember when
fund.
you did that seat.
Yeah, and we
Mhm.
we took it to 7 million. I got hacked in the first month
Jeez.
at like 200K and drained.
Wow.
And
That's fun.
that sucked. And I was like, well, I'm still going to just work for it. And a few guys gave me a little bit, you know what I mean? And we ended up taking it up to 7 million.
Okay.
But I had no supply control.
Yeah,
And eventually, go ahead.
well, I think when I was looking at and you and I talked before I even launched the
Yeah.
thing, and I appreciate so just so you guys know, I mean, yeah, I've been in the OTC community for a long time, and I talked to a lot of the OGs, and I've been floating this idea around for probably a better part of a year. There's some other things that are connected to it that we can't talk about yet. You know what I'm talking about, but um, so I've been floating this idea around, and so I guess about maybe it was 2 or 3 days before launch. So we were originally, I was going to put it on base, and I was talking to Kicko, and he's like, no, 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 no. You need to look at Solana. So he breaks out all the data for me, and he's right. By the way, you're right. Okay.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, it's your experience here has been very helpful in navigating kind of the whole setup, and the discussion we had was about the control of the supply, which is why we said, okay, well, let's just buy up 75%. And then, that way we can control it. And yeah, we ran up to 3.5 million. We're back at 1.2 now, but I guarantee you, had we not done that, we'd be sitting at 6K probably.
Probably, and that's
Yeah.
what happened. Once we got to a certain point where people were like, as loyal as I am to Pat and as much as I like Pat,
Hmm.
I'm staring at 60 grand here. That was $200
Yeah.
2 months
Thought.
ago.
Yep.
And you know what? You got to go.
Yeah.
And they just started unloading clips on me. And then I dug into my pocket and I was buying ads and I was buying KOLs. I was buying everything you could imagine to try and fix it. And once you get buried under the weight of it,
Yeah. There's no way out.
it's so hard to bring it back up. And,
You can spend an endless amount of money trying to hold something up, man. I've
I
been there
spent
and done
everything
that.
I made on it trying to fix it and
Oh, I'm
more,
sure. Yeah.
and came out the other end with nothing and
Yeah.
nothing to show for it except some experience. So,
Well, we're gonna run it back turbo with this, man.
yeah,
I am so committed to this project. It's not even just this. You got to understand. Everybody's got to understand. It's not just about the token for me. Yeah, the token is important, but for me, it is part of a bigger picture that I am trying to execute on. It is a very important part of it. But I am committed. My company, Metavesco, is 100% committed. And I'll tell you what, our stock was down a little today. I think, maybe we're under a little pressure there. I don't think I've had a single shareholder like come at me complaining about it. I mean, in fact, the ones that I have talked to are like, yeah, man, this is going to pay off. I know it will. And
yeah,
I mean, if it has to, I mean, the OTC, I genuinely believe if something urgent is not done, the OTC just will not survive. The only thing that will be left over there will be banks and foreign companies. These small little companies are just going to go away. There's no reason to even be there. It costs so much to be there. You can't raise money. You can't grow anything. And it's a similar dynamic there, like what you're talking about with the meme coins. Once you get buried under that weight, it's just you can't come back.
you
It's just
can't come
impossible.
back. And there was
Yeah,
nothing I could do because guys would just, but the existential to the risk to the OTC is real.
it is.
Like for, and I think what bothers me about it the most, and why I think this is so important, is that the only people really getting the shaft here are Americans. Foreign
Yeah.
companies, they roll out the red carpet for those foreign companies. I see some of them trading big liquidity.
Yep.
They don't do anything on this side of the pond to
Nope.
file or comply or anything. They just do it all over the on the other side, and they're letting them get away with it. And there's even ghost tickers that are foreign ghost tickers that
Oh
aren't
yeah.
even operating companies now that they're letting get away with it. But if
Yeah.
you're an American company, well, guess what? You're cooked.
The rules are so different if you're based here.
Yeah.
I would never do this, but I could. if I have a friend that lives in China, I can issue them shares. They don't have to get them cleared. They don't have to get them registered. Okay. There's something called, I think it's regulation SK. If I issue shares to someone in China, they can be like free trading in less than like 30 days. There's a process they have to go through to get the restrictions removed, but
Yeah.
it's crazy. You can't do that. Like, my next door neighbor can't get the same deal. So yeah, the
No.
rules are real jacked. And it makes it harder for these companies to do anything. And then it makes it harder for small investors to find something they can invest in that doesn't have. So look, if you're trying to be a professional meme coin trader, the risk is insanely high. I would argue 100 times higher than anything you're going to run up in the OTC. But the difference is there are more opportunities and there's just way more liquidity. So yeah, you might lose on a few, but you might win on a couple that make up for 100 losers. The OTC used to be like that, or there was that kind of liquidity, and it's just not now. So we need to fix it. We need to bring people back. How do we bring them back? A lot of them have migrated to crypto because it's the same experience, but without the bullshit. We need to give them a huge runner, create some liquidity. That liquidity will find its way over. My hope, of course, I do have an ulterior motive. Obviously, my hope is they take some of that gains that they're making and they put it in Metavesco. Of course, I want them to do that. I'd be dumb if I didn't just say that, right? So yeah. I want to make OTCfi $100 million token so that people will invest in Metavesco. That's great for me. That's great for my shareholders. That's great for Metavesco. But bigger than that, that's good for the entirety of the OTC. And that's the end game here.
The reality also is that whether we want it or not, tokenization of stocks is going to happen.
Yep. Very soon.
It's going to happen, and it'll happen before they roll back the regulations they put on the OTC. I guarantee it.
We'll be last.
We're only going, we will definitely be last, but we're only going one direction.
Yeah. Well, I'm advocating hard for it. And I've kind of put myself out there, hopefully I didn't put a target on my back with any of this, but I've put myself out there with the SEC and, they know how I feel about it, obviously. And I honestly think if they can get it done before Donald Trump leaves office, I think we'll get there. If we end up with someone with a different mentality in office, that might be a different situation.
I don't think there's any going back now. Honestly, whoever comes in now needs to understand that, because when you got, people like Peter Thiel and these people loading heavy into crypto, I mean, it is what it is, you know what I mean? And for OTCfi to be that native, OG OTC token and MVCO to have that big thing on the balance sheet and floating its boat, when that tokenization happens, I mean, this could just be massive. It could be absolutely gold standard type token as we move into the era of tokenization.
I want to see I look at it like Bitcoin to me is like digital gold, but better because I can send it across the world for pennies on the dollar without a bank telling me what I can do with my money. With Ethereum, I can build on it. I can build apps. With Solana, you can do the same thing. Okay, so I'm coming around to Solana. Like I've been a Solana hater for a long time. I've been like ETH, but I got to tell you, I'm not an ETH maxi, but I am starting to like Solana. Okay. They're spending so much money helping people develop stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what you want, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. But I think that the tokenization is definitely going to happen. So when I look at the major currencies, you got BTC, it's gold. To me, Ethereum is like either oil or maybe railroad tracks. Could be railroad tracks. But OTCfi will be what BTC is to the OTC. That's how I see it playing out, at least. That's my opinion, and that's what I want to build it into. It's what we want to build it into. But look, with any of these coins, whether you're talking about Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything else, it's worth what the community around it believes that it's worth. And when it comes to a meme coin, for lack of a better word, that's what OTCfi is. It's only worth what the community is worth. The community determines the value. So I personally am committed to it. I will work my ass off to build this community along with anything else that Metavesco is invested in. So we are invested in this, obviously. So I have a fiduciary duty to Metavesco shareholders to ensure that OTCfi is successful. And see how that works? I have a fiduciary responsibility to the Metavesco shareholders to ensure that OTCfi is successful. So when people see me out there, tweeting about it and shilling it or whatever you want to call it, look, I will shill every business that we own. I shill Epic Labor everywhere I go. Anytime somebody's talking about coffee, I tell them about Boring Brew. That's the job. The same way that Tom Lee is out here shilling ETH when he's got BM&R, he owns $2 billion of course he's going to talk about it, so that's how I look at it. And that's just what it's going to take to bring people back, man. That's, we got to build a community up. We got to build a community up that believes in something. And then there are multiple steps that have to happen, but that's the first big one. And you and I have talked in depth about what those next steps are. And I'm pretty excited about what that's going to turn into, but we have to absolutely bring the community together. And it's interesting because like half of it's crypto guys and half of it's stock guys. And you can tell who they are because like when I was looking through I had to do so much manual work on that airdrop because people had like their email addresses where Solana addresses. So it was so bad. There were a few probably missed out because they just didn't do it right. But you can tell like in the Discord, you can tell like, and they recognize it too, that, crypto's a little different language. There's different terminology, a lot of different slang. I mean, the only reason I even know the slang, to be fair, is because my son is like in that age group. And so I just kind of like leech it off of him. But the other day, I think I said something to him and I think he was embarrassed that I even knew what it was. What was it? I don't even remember. There was something the other day, some slang word. He's like, yeah,
you're talking about skibbity toilets?
No, he shook his head. He's like, oh, no. But there was something probably equal to that,
I know what these kids are doing.
Man, it's a different language.
Toilet.
Yeah. All I know right now is 6'7". Everybody crashes out when you say it. That's all I know.
Yeah, 6'7" is popping off big time. They got
there's a token. Somebody made a token.
Well, they have a couple, and there's one.
I'm sure. Yeah.
That's at 20K right now, a 6'7" token. And so they have one that came off a bonk, but it's 67. And the proper one is on pump 6-7.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting at 20K right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they go for it or not. But I got a little bit of that. But one thing that's been bugging me though is and we'll see, but with this OTCfi, I feel like we'll get there, but there's a lot of egos out there and a lot of people who you would expect to be on board, like, because when you said I want you to help out with this, I mean, I didn't even ask like for anything. I just was like, yeah, I want to help. I'd love the OTC. I want it. You know what I mean?
And I want to tell you, for me to you personally, that to me is like, that's why I need to work with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I love it. And it made me like, I really, before OTC Method, I was just a civilian in a cubicle, you know what I mean? And so like OTC was everything to me and still is. And so, I'm hopeful that in time people will come around and maybe even reach out and say, hey, what can I do? Or, you know what I mean? Because right now, most of what we're hearing is people, it'll never work, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, that's, I don't even understand that attitude.
Well, I think it's telling.
Thank you, man.
I think it's very telling because it was not their idea, not their token. That's why.
Right.
I've taken some heat from, well, I don't even call it heat because it doesn't matter to me. There's been some words said to me about, I had that idea, or, that's not going to work, or, you don't know anything about crypto. Obviously, I know. I'm trading millions of dollars of crypto. I know about crypto. Okay.
Yeah, you've been at crypto.
Yeah, I've been. Yeah. So I mean, I was in this shit when people were just like, and I've done some stupid shit too. I mean, I paid $250,000 for a Bored Ape, for a JPEG monkey. Okay.
Right.
So yeah. Now, to be fair, I did pick up about 180 grand worth of ApeCoin in the ApeCoin drop. So
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. I mean, but I've been in this space for a while, so it's not like I haven't launched. It's not like I've been launching tokens every day. Okay. So yes, I'm kind of green in that front, but I understand the economics of it. I understand at least the back end tech of it. I'm not a coder. In fact, I've relied on you for a lot of stuff that's just outside of my depth. But I don't. At the end of it, this is all going to come down to building relationships. There's going to be some guys out there, they're just going to be butthurt because they didn't launch it. It wasn't their idea. And you know what? They can't launch it. Even if they launch it, they can't. It has to be a public company because there's accountability. I cannot rug this token.
Right.
Okay. Somebody else could go start one. They could rug it, walk away, whatever. I don't have that luxury. It's number one, it's part of a public company. Okay.
Mhm.
So there are like, I can't tell you the ramification, like legal ramifications for me rugging this thing. The SEC, they would 100% be at my door and they wouldn't be here to have, tea and biscuits either.
No.
So yeah.
Be perfect.
Hey, the thing may go to $5,000, but it won't be because I rugged it. I can tell you that. So yeah, this is 100% not a rug. And when I say that I'm committed, probably in two ways, like committed, like, I'm in it, and committed, like I need to be committed. But I mean, I'm committed to this and I will not, I got to be careful how I say it, but I will not be put in a position where this fails. It is too important. It's too important for the you know what? If it fails because the OTC is just dead and it just ain't coming back, and we should just go learn how to trade something else, cattle or something. Because
Yeah.
if this fails, it's because the OTC is just dead. Every OTC trader should be lining up to get involved with this. I'm not saying they need to line up and buy the token. Yes, I'd love for them to buy the token, but they should be behind the idea of it. Every OTC company should be behind the idea of it. They don't have to buy the token. I mean, I would hope that they will, and I know that there are some that will, but every one of them should be behind the idea of it. It has to be a public company to do it. It can't be an influencer. It can't be some individual trader. It has to be a pubco. Okay. Because this is the only meme coin that has accountability.
Yep.
Right.
It's true.
Not, yeah. You just can't walk away with the money, So that's the thing. And yeah, it will take some time, I think, to educate the crypto guys on that. Educating the OTC guys is a little different angle. I think right now, I think a lot of them don't know I don't think they follow it. I think it's about 30%. They're just not interested because maybe it wasn't their idea or they, are unsure. But I think like 70% of them, they're not quite. And I'm basing that off just conversations with people. Like, I bet I've onboarded 80 or 100 people to Phantom wallets in the last week. I mean, and I know you have
Yeah.
too. I saw a video.
Oh, yeah.
That you're talking
Over the
about.
last year and a half, you bet.
It's crazy. So, there are a lot of people that just, and the thing is, I mean, they're going to have to learn how to do this stuff at some point because it's all going to be there anyways. But there are a lot of people that I think don't understand it yet. And I think there's a pretty good amount of people that think I'm a little crazy probably on this. It hasn't been done before. It's a first. You're always going to, I mean, people thought Michael Saylor was crazy for a long ass time. Yeah. You know what? He might still be crazy, but he's fucking rich.
He's crazy like a fox.
Shareholders rich.
Crazy like a fox.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he's committed. Okay.
Yeah.
Even when Bitcoin's going to 16,000, he's unbothered and moisturized. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, has anyone seen another token that has nothing but green dev buys?
Yeah. That's what he's trying to say. Like, and that's what I've been trying to say as well. Like, there's enough liquidity out here in this market that if you keep knocking on the door, and you get up every day and you work the community, you work the token, you keep the streams up, you keep adding elements, there's enough people out here. Because like I remember sometimes I'd be in an OTC thing and I'd kind of like count up how much went into it over the last few days.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, well, there's no one left. You know what I mean? Like, but out here, the sea is large, baby.
Huge.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But it does take a lot to get attention. That first couple of days,
it takes patience and time.
It takes patience and time. That first couple of days, there were some big traders that got in, and I think that pushed it up, pretty high. Yeah. And then, of course, now the pullback. From what I've seen on looking at the wallets on chain, it's mostly them just exiting, and I think most are done. It might be like I think there's one guy out there with like 30,000, but I tell you what. 2 days ago, I saw him selling, and then or maybe it was today or yesterday. Actually, I think it was today. I saw him starting to buy again. So maybe he's just trading, and that's okay. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not going to try to control how someone trades. Yeah, I want to control the supply, but I'm not going to try to control how someone trades it.
No,
yeah,
and it's hard to try. Yeah. I did once, and I was like, "Listen, I know this is your wallet," and they were like, "Okay, yeah," and then the second we get off the phone,
yep.
Crushed. I mean, you can't.
Yep.
they're going to do what they're
You
going to
really
do.
can't control it. So,
No.
you have to be real strategic about it. We burned, how much have we burned? 30. I think we burned 30 million, around 30 million.
Yeah.
And the pace of those will slow over time. You got to be strategic with that. We did a couple big ones, and I think the next ones will, go down. And I think we'll continue to buy strategically with the rewards. There's some other stuff that I've been thinking about that we could do with that too. Here's an idea. This is not a promise. I don't want to. This is not a promise. Okay. In fact, let me just be real clear. Metavesco is a publicly traded company. Anything I say is most likely a forward-looking statement, and you should take it with a grain of salt. Please do look at otcmarkets.com for any risk disclosures. Do your own research, buy at your own risk, etc. Feel like I got my legal disclosures out the way there. I think it would be cool. What if we took like some? This is just an idea, spitballing here. What if we took some of the create? What if we bought some Bitcoin miners with the creator rewards, and then set them up to mine Bitcoin and auto swap the Bitcoin for OTCfi?
Dude,
Like
that'd be crazy.
OTCfi miner. Wouldn't that be?
That'd be crazy. Yeah.
That's what I love about this stuff. We can do whatever we want.
You
we
can do all
whatever
this
we
shit.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh,
Just
man.
an idea. And that's what the message we really got to get out to people. Most of these tokens that get launched, and I say most, like 99%, they're extractive. They're there to make some fees, get the price up, and then they're going to dump their wallet. They're going to sell. You won't even see it usually because they'll have it spread out over like 100 wallets. They'll use bots,
Right.
and they'll have it spread out, right? This situation here, it can't be rugged. So once you accept that as reality, so many other things start becoming questions. Like, okay, well, what can we do with the credit? Yes, I would like for us to make some money on it. We are a public company. We're not a nonprofit. Okay, but I'm trying to. The other day, I was thinking about. You ever see that movie Social Network?
Yeah.
Okay, great movie, by the way. Anyway, there's a scene where Justin Timberlake's talking to dude, and Mark Zuckerberg says, we don't know what it is yet. And the guy says, you don't know what it is. Because Eduardo's trying to get them to sell a bunch of advertising. But they're like, we don't even know what it is yet. We don't know what this is yet. So, yeah, I have a longer time horizon on it. We can build this really into anything that we want. And it just needs to make sense. First and foremost, it has to make sense for Metavesco. If it's going to pour money into it or forego earnings, whatever, it's got to make sense for the shareholders. But then B, it's got to make sense for the OTCfi community, which I foresee at some point or another being massively larger than the Metavesco community because Metavesco is limited to U.S. traders only. But we'll still be holding OTCfi on the balance sheet, and that asset should be pretty damn massive. I mean, just look at Saylor's balance sheet, man. Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, he's up $40 billion.
And you're right. I mean, there people are saying, what is it? I mean, we're coming up with a lot of ideas of different things we're going to do.
Yeah.
And, some of them are going to stick hard. And, I mean, with this streaming, especially, I mean, we can have special guests.
Yeah.
We can have whatever, we could even have shows, all sorts of different shows. We got the merch coming, and that merch is going to be cool because whatever people buy, all the proceeds will go to burning tokens.
It's going to be great.
And so many things.
I'm excited about all those. I personally will wear the hell out of a shirt that's got that bull on it with the OTCfi across the top.
Yeah.
And I think we should have like the tagline, like once you're in, you're in. I really like that tagline. Certainly open to negotiating that if anybody's got any better ideas. I do want to wrap up here. I've got my son's, like, hey man, we got this thing we're supposed to do in 30 minutes. But the actual reason why we had the stream, that's what I want to talk about. So before I got on here, I pulled a what do you call it?
I don't
pulled
know.
a wallet list off of SolScan. Oh
yeah.
Yes. And so I sorted it. Man, I didn't know you could do all this stuff. I actually learned some stuff today on SolScan. It's not quite as easy on Etherscan. SolScan, you can actually sort the wallets by how much they're holding of any token, not just this one. So anyways, here's what's going to happen. as of probably 28, I think is when I pulled the wallet list. If you have at least 2 sol worth of OTCfi, you are going to get an airdrop, and it's going to be roughly 100,000 tokens each.
Let's go.
So if you got at least 2 sol and you didn't cheat your airdrop, congratulations, you're going to get 100,000 tokens. Now, to be fair, it's probably less than 50 wallets. Okay. But whatever it is, as soon as we're done here, I'll start working on that and we'll have that dropped out tonight. You termed it earlier. I can't remember what you call it, like Jeet Revenge.
I'll find it. I'll find it. I thought it was funny too. I laughed when I wrote it.
It's like Jeet. What was it? Jeet Revenge or something?
Maybe Jeet. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna find it right now. Oh my gosh.
How many DMs do you have, bro?
I'm just looking at the one that I wrote Jeet somewhere on there.
You have to have me looking at it now. It's such a good term. Golly, I'm getting old. Is it that hard? Is it that hard?
Jeet punishment or something.
Oh, here we go. I actually don't see it either. Jeet that's what it was. Jeet punishment. All right. Well, I like the Jeet massacre better.
Jeet punishment.
Yeah. Jeet punishment.
Jeet retribution.
There you go. Yeah. So if you didn't Jeet and you're holding at least 2 sol worth, which is currently $436 worth of OTCfi as of roughly 6:28 today. I think that's what I pulled it. You'll get that sometime tonight or maybe early morning, depends on what happens the rest of the day. Yeah. So if you're still holding, I appreciate you. If you're a Metavesco shareholder, I love you. I appreciate everybody hopping in here. We're going to be doing some more of these, man. Me and Pat have some great ideas. It's going to be no idea what we're going to build here. It's going to be amazing. And I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to be working with you on this project, man. I couldn't think of
this has been awesome
to do this with. Yeah, I mean,
I've really enjoyed it, and as far as I'm concerned, we just keep picking away.
That's right.
And you keep reaching out to people, you keep putting it out there, and because I believe there's enough people who are nostalgic for those good old days that once they see it, it's hard with the algorithm now, but once they see it, they're going to start coming in heavy.
We just have to help create opportunities, man. That's it.
Yep.
Hey, I appreciate everybody hopping in here. Hey, Ray, I appreciate you recording this for me, bro. I'm sure you'll send me like a Google link or something so I can, stay compliant with Reg FD. I'd appreciate it.
And Pump saves a copy as well.
Does it?
Yeah. It'll show under, if you go to this page, it'll show prior streams underneath the window, so it's automatically recorded.
I'll check that out because I didn't know that. I literally didn't know that.
They do now. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I can just link it. I'll check that out and confirm with Ray on that either way. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you hopping on here, taking time out, and I appreciate everybody else. No problem. Hey, y'all have a kick-ass evening, and we'll see you in the trenches.
See you later.
See you guys.